Hello and welcome. Today we're going to be covering section 8.3, which is on how to find the area of a circle. Previously, we've discussed how to find the circumference or the perimeter around a circle, but now we're going to discuss the area of a circle. For our key idea, the area of a circle is the product of pi and the square of the radius. That word product means multiply, so we are multiplying pi and the square of the radius, or r, of our circle. Algebraically, or as an equation, we have a equals pi times r squared. For pi, we still have the choice of using either 3.14 or 22 over 7. We've discussed if your radius is a multiple of 7, using the fraction 22 over 7 will be the easiest option of the two. However, if your radius is not a multiple of 7, then we'll use the decimal 3.14 to multiply. In example 1a, we're going to find the area of the circle. Writing out my formula, I have a equals pi times r to the second power. Area equals pi, I'm going to leave a blank for pi, times my radius, which is 7 centimeters, to the second power. The reason I'm leaving that blank is so we can think about which version of pi we'd like to use. Since our radius is a multiple of 7, using 22 over 7 will be very beneficial. In the directions, they also tell us, go ahead and use 22 over 7 for pi. The reason is, our radius is a multiple of 7. When we simplify this, we need to remember our order of operations. Our order of operations starts with parentheses, and that means inside the parentheses, simplify as much as you can. Looking at the fraction 22 over 7, I cannot reduce that, so I cannot simplify that anymore. And the second parentheses is 7 centimeters, and I cannot simplify that either. So I move on to the second component of my order of operations, which is e for exponents. I do see an exponent on my 7 centimeters, so I'm going to take care of that first. Area equals, I still have 22 over 7. But when I raise this to the second power, I end up with 7 times 7, which is 49, and the centimeters is also squared. The reason centimeters are squared is because now we're talking area. So we have a two-dimensional surface instead of just a single dimension of length or width. After exponents comes multiplication and division. So now I need to multiply if there is any multiplication. And there is between the fraction 22 over 7 and my 49 centimeters. So I'll go ahead and reduce my 7 and my 49 to 1 and 7. And now I have area equals 22 times 7 centimeters squared. Multiplying, area is going to equal 154 square centimeters. Example B. We're going to find the area of the circle, and now they tell us to use 3.14 for pi. So writing out my formula, area is equal to pi times the radius squared. Area is equal to pi, I'll leave a blank, times the radius squared. The reason I also left my radius blank is because they do not tell us what the radius is. In this diagram, they tell us the whole distance across the circle, which is the diameter. So if I want to find just the radius, I need to take that diameter and divide it by 2. I find that the radius from the center to the edge of the circle is 13 inches. So I'll go ahead and plug in 13 inches for my radius. And in the directions, they tell us to use 3.14 for pi. And the reason for that is that my radius does not have a 7. So if I use the 22 over 7, it would not reduce. Again, following my order of operations, I need to do my exponents first. So I go ahead and multiply 13 by 13. Area is going to equal 3.14. When I square 13, I get 169, and inches are also squared. My last step is to multiply 3.14 by 169. 9 times 4 is 36. 9 times 1 is 9, plus 3 is 12. 9 times 3 is 27, 28. Drop a 0 and move on to the 6. 6 times 4 is 24, carry a 2. 6, 7, 8. 6 times 3 is 18. Drop 2 zeros and move on to the 1. 1 times 4 is 4, 1 times 1 is 1, and 1 times 3 is 3. And now we add 6 plus 0 plus 0 is 6, 2 plus 4 plus 0 is 6, 8 plus 8 is 16, plus 4 is 20, 2 plus 2 is 4, plus 8 is 12, plus 1 more is 13, and 1 plus 1 is 2, plus 3 is 5. We count our decimals. I have 1, 2 in my 3.14 and none in the 169, so I move 1, 2 to get 530.66. So we have found that the area of this circle is 530.66 square inches. I'll go ahead and do one more for you, and then I'll have you do the next two on your own. Find the area of the circle. Use either 3.14 or 22 over 7 for pi. In number 1, area is equal to pi times the radius squared. Area is equal to, I'll leave a blank for pi, and my radius is 9 millimeters. Now I need to choose either 3.14 or 22 over 7 for pi. Since my radius is not a multiple of 7, I'm going to use the 3.14. Following my order of operations, I'm going to go ahead and square my 9 millimeters first. So area equals 3.14. 9 times 9 is 81, and millimeters is squared as well. My last step is only to multiply the 3.14 by 81. 1 times 4 is 4, 1 times 1 is 1, 1 times 3 is 3. Dropping a 0, 8 times 4 is 32, carry my 3. 8 times 1 is 8, plus 3 is 11. 8 times 3 is 24, plus 1 is 25. And now I add. 4 plus 0 is 4, 1 plus 2 is 3, 3 plus 1 is 4, 5, and 2. Counting my decimals, I have 1, 2, 1, 2, and I end up with a final answer of area equaling 254.34 square millimeters. Now for number 2 and 3, we need to double check that we have a radius. In number 2, we are not given the radius. We are instead given the entire distance across the circle, which is 3 inches. So since our diameter, the whole distance, is 3 inches, we need to divide that in half to get the radius. So in this case, your radius is going to be 1.5, or 1.5 inches. Now that you have your radius, you can go ahead and find the area by using our formula, area equals pi r squared. I'd like for you to go ahead and pause the video and go ahead and do number 2 and number 3 on your own. For number 2, we should have area is equal to pi times 1.5 inches squared. Since 1.5 is not a multiple of 7, we'll use 3.14. Area is equal to 3.14 times, when I square 1.5 or multiply 1.5 by 1.5, we are going to end up with 2.25. I'm not going to go through that multiplication, but that's what you should have gotten. Square inches. Last, I need to multiply by 3.14. And when I multiply 3.14 by 2.25, I end up with 7.065 square inches. So the area of this circle is about 7 square inches. We are not told to round, so we'll go ahead and leave it as 7.065. In number 3, they do give me the radius, so I can go ahead and plug these into my formula. Area is equal to pi times the radius, which is 10 inches, squared. Since the radius is not a multiple of 7, I use 3.14, and I make sure to simplify my exponents first. So area is equal to 3.14. 10 times 10, or 10 squared, is 100, and inches is also squared. Multiplying 3.14 by 100, I end up with area is equal to 314 square inches. I'd like for you to go ahead and pause the video to do on your own's number 4 and 5. It may help you to draw a circle with the radius of 6 feet for number 4 and with a diameter of 28 meters for number 5. Go ahead and pause the video now to do these two on your own. In number 1, when I set up my equation, since my radius was 6, I used 3.14 for pi. There's no 7 in my radius, so it will not reduce with the 22 over 7. In number 5, since my radius was 14, I did use the 22 over 7. And then I was able to reduce my 7 and my radius squared to 1 and 28, giving me a final answer of 616 square meters. In example 2, we want to find the distance that a monster truck travels when the tires make one 360-degree rotation. What best describes this distance? So if we think of a tire, if this is a tire, and it is moving forward, the distance that it's going to cover is one 360-degree rotation. So starting here and turning the tire 360 degrees around, that distance is going to be the same as the outside of the circle. The outside of the circle is called the circumference of the tire. So the distance it's going to travel is c, the circumference of the tire. Last, number 3. We're going to talk about the area of a semicircle. Remember that semi just means 1/2 of the circle. So all we're going to do is pretend that this circle was complete, find the area of the whole circle, and then divide it by 2. So area is equal to pi r squared. Area is equal to pi times the radius squared. In this diagram, the 30 feet is representing my diameter, which means that my radius is actually only 15 feet. So area is equal to pi times 15 feet squared, and I will use 3.14 for pi. Area is equal to 3.14 times 225 square feet, and multiplying by 3.14, I find that my area is 706.5 square feet. However, this is the area of the whole circle. I only have half of a circle. So to find the area of the orchestra pit in the diagram, I need to find 1/2 of 706.5 square feet. When we divide 706.5 by 2, I end up with 353.25 square feet. Now please pause the video and go ahead and do on your own's number 6, 7, and 8. You can now go ahead and check your answers and see if you were successful. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.